And we are going to have a pretty fun show tonight, as you guys can see from our Korean caster setup and what you're about to see on camera right now. We are just kind of chilling out. We're not even really fully dressed up here. We're just kind of chilling on these sofas, and we're going to bring you guys coverage late into the evening here from Seoul, South Korea.
That is true. It's actually about 10 p.m. here in Seoul, so it's a little bit late for us, but it's a great time if you're living in Europe or elsewhere across the world. It's kind of a new time slot, and this is really a new format as well. So I do want to prepare you a little bit. If you're used to, us using erudite, deep English language and trying to deeply analyze everything, that's not really what's going to go on here tonight. This is the challenge part of the SSL series. So if you guys got a chance to watch SSL earlier this week, that was Premier. So that is going to be your super hardcore professional, these are the best players ever kind of league. This is challenge. So these are the players that didn't quite qualify for Premier. They're going to be playing down here, and while the games will still be extremely exciting, we're going to be taking a little bit of a lighthearted approach to this show.
Absolutely. So don't put your try-hard pants on tonight. Maybe just switch back into the sweatpants and relax and chill out, because we're going to have fun.
Next time I'm coming in sweatpants. I could just hide behind here. Nobody knows. Actually, yeah, they do. Okay, I'm just going to have to scoot this way this time. But
So, yeah, we have players. Some of the best players in the world are even in this room right now. TY, one of our opening matches, of course, is a back-to-back world champion. But unfortunately, he didn't make it to Premier. And so that's what this whole tournament is about for them. For us, it's about fun, and we're not going to take this game. No, I'm just kidding. But
I was like, yeah, we're just here to make dank memes, guys.
So, look, TY is going to, of course, start off trying to make his way through this round-robin format, which some people are calling the pennant race. It's a round-robin format just like Premier. And, of course, they're going to go to a second stage later on to see who is going to get to that fast lane, which is basically promotions and the...
Okay, well, it's okay. So you can call it fast. They came up with all these new names for everything because it's supposed to be new and exciting. And to be fair, SSL has a million different formats for everything, and they're all pretty exciting. I'm actually really excited to see how this kind of shakes things up a little bit because for a very long time it was just we have GSL code S, we have GSL code A, and it was okay, well that's kind of the way that things are done. Or SSL just had one giant bracket with 1 billion players in it. I'm okay, well everybody understands that and knows that. But this season, we're doing things a little bit differently. So like you said, there's 2 groups of players. We're going to have 4 best of 3s per challenger broadcast, and everybody's going to play everybody over the course of the season. And then once you make it through the group stages, then you go into what you'd classically consider playoffs.
Yeah. We're calling that round 2, I think, technically.
They come up with cool names for literally everything, but that's just called round 2.
There you go. All right. And then you go into the fast lane, okay? Because if things weren't heated up enough by the time you get to the playoffs, you're going to get to the fast lane, right? You're going to get over to the left-hand lane. You got a passenger in your car.
Pull my StarCraft car over to the HOV.
We're going to call it the HOV lane.
Okay.
Okay, you get in the HOV lane. That's your fast track. Now, you got to make sure you get a passenger seat, otherwise you get pulled out by the police. You end up in Challenger next season. So make sure that you've got someone in the car with you when you go into that fast lane. We are going to, of course, have those players then promoted into Premier, where it's going to be the highest level StarCraft you have here at SSL. So we have, again, finally, once more, 2 Premier Leagues of StarCraft 2 in Korea. It's been a long time. Last time I commented StarCraft 2 was Kespa Cup, so that was a while ago. But I'm just happy we got this Glad plane here to put a smile on my face. You guys can't see the smile behind the sign, but just imagine this is what I look like right now behind the side pad.
A big old Glad plane. Then they zoom in on the face, and it's just take me now.
Wait, hold on, I got to open this up.
Halfway through the broadcast, Wolf's going to hold up a sign that says they're holding me against my will.
It's hard to do this, but I'm trying.
Okay, the Glad plane's coming. That's literally what Wolf looks like in the morning.
Glad plane face. .jpg. I don't have the PNG version yet.
No, we got to upgrade to that in our next broadcast.
Absolutely, but yeah, so it's going to be fun. I swear we'll take the in-game a little bit more seriously right now. A little bit more.
As if by command, we're going to go ahead and talk about really cool stuff. So basically, this is outlining both the stages and the prize distribution for each one of our best of 3 series in the first stage of SSL Challenge. The winner will get 200,000 Korean won. It's about 180 bucks, and then the loser will still get prize money. So really just trying to spread the wealth around and make it easier, more economic for players to play in this league. And 100,000 Korean won for second place in the battle of 2 players.
That's right. I should say that I misspoke earlier. It was not actually round 2. It is second stage where we'll be going into. Second stage will be happening around May, and that's when we're going to, obviously step this up a little bit more, and we'll even have like interviews and things like that. Rumor has it with the players. Now, everything here is the same format that you would expect from a best of 3. It's just like Code 8 used to be, and our map pool is as the same as standard in Star League, and it's voted on by the pro gamers.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that, Wolf. A lot of people are just like, why is Frost here? We're going to be playing on Daybreak for every season forever. It's like, well, players are actually given the opportunity to say, hey, pick 7 maps that you guys want to play on, and they voted those 7 maps into the pool. So if you got problems with the map, then take it up with the players who actually want to play on these maps, which I think is what matters a little bit more than, playing the newest, most flashiest maps ever. And these are the players that did vote on those maps. So you can see the 10 players that did not make it into Premier here in Challenger.
Yeah, the 2 big names that jump out at you in this list are definitely TY and Beyond, 2 players you'd expect to be in Premier. Unfortunately, they were unable to make it. Other players that did historically well in the past, like Hero, down here in this league. Of course, Hero hasn't had the best results as of late, but he's still a big top-name player you wouldn't expect to be in Challenge.
Oh, and this is not ex-Liquid Hero, this is ex-CJ Hero, in case you guys are getting confused with those names. He, I think, had the best record, most wins in Pro League last season, the last season of Pro League, and I'm just like, okay, well, this guy's so good. We'll see how good he is here tonight. Also, like you said, get a chance to see Beyond and TY both play. Former GSL Code S champion Jakji is also going to be playing, and I just got to say, while if you guys have yet to do like your liquid bets or like are still thinking about, well, who do you want to win tonight, it's not going to go quite the way that you might expect. Now, it might, and I might be wrong, but when I was actually at the Nice Game TV studios for the qualifiers for SSL, watching these players play, Jakji was on fire. Oh my God, that guy looked good. He also looked, I guess, decent at IEM, even though he didn't make it out of his groups. Still actually a much better player than I think a lot of the people currently watching might remember.
Yeah, the last big match that Jakji played domestically in Korea was his match in the Pro League Finals, in which case many would argue that even though he had the win against SOS, he then threw the late game with his Liberator positioning choices and then ended up losing them the series. Jin Air then went on to win the Grand Finals. But, so Jin Air's a sponsor here. Shout them out. And I know that right now you guys want to watch this on a different platform. I think it's the Sudden Spasms TV or whatever it's called that you guys really normally watch this on. It's not available now, but we're looking for that in the future. But do spread the word to this link, to the YouTube link. I know you guys use social media sites like I'veReadThat.com and other websites. So please go out there, spread the word. Please place upward arrows where they belong in order to get this tournament promoted properly, because we really do want people to see it. And I know that it's not on the Sudden Spasms TV that you guys are used to, but we're looking to get that supported in the future. So just get this link out there, all right?
Yeah, currently we only have our tubes directed towards the viewers. So if you guys want to direct these tubes towards other people, then get the link out there. Also, if you want to get more than just the link out there, because this is a little bit more of a casual atmosphere, we're basically casting from our room, which is actually just a backdrop behind us, but looks three-dimensional. So that's what I'm going to pretend. We're going to be taking a lot of questions over the course of the broadcast. So if you have anything that you want us to either read on air or get a chance to look at, we'll have a lot of time to have some discussions, talk not directly with you guys, but if you want to tweet at us, send us your questions, then you can tweet at RapidCasting or at ProxyWolf. Use the hashtag SSL, and we'll be able to see what you guys are tweeting, read those tweets, and kind of discuss them a little bit later on during the show. So if you just hate Wolf's haircut, or if you think I need to dye my hair back to black, then let us know. I mean, I think your hair looks fine, but somewhere out there's going to be a 50 downvote comment that says, well, I think Wolf's hair has really seen better days. I don't really know why he's letting himself go so much. And I'm just like, okay, well, why would you post that?
If you do want to find out more about this tournament, you can go to the community website, teammeltedsolids.net, and you'll find a lot of information there. You can also go to liquidpeasinapod.net to get the bracket information as well. So, TY versus Classic here. Here's going to be our map pool. It's going to be Newkirk, Daybreak, and then Bel'Shir. I believe this map veto system is the same as we had in the past, where it's based on basically preference.
Right, so it's not like a ban system. You don't ban maps. You basically pick your 3 maps that you want, and then one player gets preference in the first map, the other player gets preference in the second map, and then the last map is basically whatever they haven't picked so far. Now, so the map list in the middle will be Newkirk, Daybreak, and Bel'Shir. Is it Vestige or Vestige?
We historically, back when Vestige was the map, called it Vestige. It's been a while since this map has actually graced our pool. It's one of the better maps I personally feel in the pool currently. But, I mean, you can call it either. I like Vestige. That's kind of what everyone was saying for a while. Some people said Vestige. Some people said something else that I couldn't really understand, like vegetables.
When I was talking to one of my friends and talking about Bel'Shir, because it's a map that comes up, they said Bel'Shire, like where hobbits live. And I'm like, well, I'm at least pretty sure that's not how it's pronounced. Let's go ahead and talk about our players a little bit. This guy has never won a game before. Why is he in our tournament? This is TY, 0 wins, and of course, 0 losses.
This guy, had never won a major tournament until he won WESG. Of course, this is excluding his win at Pro League in 2014. And, he's moved into now winning the most recent Intel Extreme Masters in Katowice. He's a 2-time world champion now. And, again, one of the favorites to get out of this tournament, as well as most people expected him to have just directly seeded into Premier.
Yeah, really the biggest surprise for me. If you want to sort the players here in Premier by who you'd expect to be in Challenger, who you'd expect to be in Premier, I mean, TY's way up at the top of the list. His opponent here is Classic, and while TY may not have bopped his way straight into Premier, the guy that he did bop was Classic. 2-0'd him in the qualifiers. Classic's face after losing to TY was a major sad face at the qualifiers. Now, they both did wind up then winning their way into Challenger. TY then lost subsequently, and then Classic won right after that. So they did make it into here, but at least in their head-to-head recently, TY is definitely looking maybe a little bit better.
And Classic hasn't, let's be real, looked too great in a while. Really, since the post-Kespa era, he actually hasn't looked to be a strong player, like a champion-tier contender. He's not a bad player by any means, but post-Kespa, when you look at the 2 directions these 2 players took, it feels like Classic was on the downward trend, whereas TY, of course, went to win 2 back-to-back world championships. So when you compare the 2 of them, just qualifier results alone, that's more recent, but even just in the overarching scheme of things, TY looked to be the much stronger player.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at TY up before he won WESG, I mean, this is a guy that you might think is on a downward trend. It's like, well, you've actually just been playing for how long? Like 10 years? And you still haven't won anything, and then he just wins 2 of the biggest tournaments in the world. You're like, thinking emoji.
And he also was on the cusp of great things, making back-to-back round of 4s in Star League. And he was always on the edge of getting that first finals, and he never got it until WESG. And then, of course, wanted to play as his teammate in the GSL. But, I really feel like the story of TY hasn't been told properly in terms of domestic tournaments, though, right? And he's been playing in Pro League for forever. He ended up playing in many Star Leagues, growing up as well, but never had top results. But finally he has this opportunity to go back through Premier here and win a domestic title, win a Star League. He's never been able to have that.
Well, and for Classic, I mean, this guy knows what it's like to come in here and win SSL. He's back to do it again this season in Challenge, so it's going to be exciting to see him kind of make a name for himself as we get into our first game of the night.
Here we go. I just want everyone out there to remember, fly, better fly.
I'm pretty sure they meant to say fly butterfly, because that is the logo. But here's TY. He's going to be the blue Terran on the lower left-hand side of the screen. There you can see him wearing his Superfly Jin Air and SSL jacket, which I will be stealing immediately after the broadcast. The Protoss player is Classic, also wearing a jacket I would wish I had.
Pretty nice Jin Air jackets. As we go into Newkirk, Precinct, For me, this map always brings back memories of the Heart of the Swarm beta, because it was in the beta map pool, the ladder map pool, and it always felt like the map I ended up testing stuff with my friends, because it was a map where you're like, okay, it's 2-player, don't worry about scouting, let's just, and we got a pretty medium rush distance, we could try some air stuff. It always kind of reminded me of like some sort of training ground, because I would try everything under the sun on this map, including Warhound builds and things of that nature.
Oh god. What a great unit to never see the light of day. Big fan. So Probius here has seen better days. He's got about one more hit left. So he will exit the Terran base, run away without really revealing too much other than the fact that this is a pretty standard opener.
Yep, nothing too out of the ordinary. We're going to see Classic after seeing the opener is as standard as it gets, drops down a Nexus. He wants to see if a reactor gets placed here or not, and potentially even block it. Going to see that it is going to be the faster Reaper opening, which is what you'd normally expect, which gives him more safety here.
This always confuses me. It's like you're literally blocking a Terran command center. Like, let me explain to you where Terran buildings work. You can actually just build them anywhere. So, I mean, maybe...
Well, I mean, almost anywhere.
Okay, that is true.
Like, some hexes don't work. You can't build too close to minerals. You can't build in the water. But, like,
You can't build them over ledges.
But anyway, go. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, you can build it anywhere. Like, you could go build it on the high ground and then float it over. It's like, oh no, I lose 5 seconds of mining time, but I actually get to build it 10 seconds faster, so it's still a win. I don't know how you calculate that, but good old Probius is doing his job. We actually have a Probius right down here. He's chilling out by our Genair logo.
Yeah, I like to think Terran SCVs have the CC or whatever they're building like in their pocket. Like, hold on, I got an SCV, I got a command center here. Like, oh, and pop it onto the ground.
Well, it's like Legos. Here we go. They carry all like the command center like Lego pieces in their little pocket, and then they just have to like build it piece by piece. I just finished building a perfect grade Gundam the other day, and that thing took me, I think, 12 hours to build. So it was a little bit involved, and I like to think that in my own little way, I was an SCV doing that. Wolf.
Yeah, longest build time ever. But yeah, I'm ready. Let's go back into this game.
Okay, back to the matter at hand. Oh my God! All right, Probius is going to peace out here. Now, this is, okay, he's still going to throw down to the command center, but anytime you delay a command center from coming down, you're sort of under the assumption that it will be built. So I always like to see players that go for that mind game where it's just like, well, I'm never going to build a command center, I'm just going to kill you immediately off of a one-base timing, and then they're like, well, but I blocked your command center. It's like, well, just not going to build one. Well, not the case this time. So apparently the pause was just because Classic, had his settings like reset, so he had to just like quickly go through and make sure everything was the way that he wanted it to be. Players do have to get those straightened out beforehand, but
maybe a mouse driver issue or something like that. But
Classic is the mouse driver.
That he is. Look at that hand right there, that right hand driving off screen.
And for Premiere, we actually have the cameras like tilted down a little bit more, so you can see the players like crazy APM. I think that's actually super cool. So maybe I'll run into the booths and tilt the cameras down during the break. But in the meantime, this is like, it was just so interesting because like when I was casting Premiere a few days ago with Brendan Valdez, our first series there, Maru was just versus SOS, was actually just the weirdest series. There's like cheeses, all-ins, base trades. Like it was just like the least standard series I've ever seen. And this is actually just like the most standard.
Sure. Well, I mean, when you end up with a team kill like that, weird stuff is bound to happen, right? This is just going to be an Oracle opening on Newkirk. This is pretty standard. It was even standard, to do Stargate openings, Phoenix openings, especially on this map back in the beta of Heart of the Swarm, because Phoenixes were a great counter to Warhounds back then, and you end up with this insanely short rush distance. You can harass SCVs. So we're going to have the Oracle first coming out here, and when you look at how this game sets up right now for TY, he's just playing it insanely safe. Even getting a Raven here, and to be insanely safe against potentially a DT, for example, coming into his base. And, he's going to have auto turrets to potentially harass later on as well.
Yeah, and it also is going to mean he can deny any observers from getting into his base too. So when those come back eventually, this is actually just the safest you can be. I mean, he even went barracks before command center, so just making sure that he just has everything that he needs, more than enough Marines, even just sitting around there in the base.
Oh, that's not normal.
No, indeed it is not. Also, Void Ray coming out as well.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not normal. Like, That's weird. This is clearly, okay, so look at what's happening here. He's using the Raven to make sure the third base is denied. And we're going to see that TY trademark siege tank that he's so famous for coming out. The Void Ray, though, is quite unusual. It may just be a solo Void to deny drops.
Right.
But you just don't see that all too often. And he's even chrono boosting it here, so looks like he's really concerned about drops, which is not surprising considering this map has such a short rush distance. But for a moment there, I was excited we might see a Void Ray timing attack or something like that. That's what I love, but it's not going to happen.
Classic has just not had a lot of information this game. So he's going up to a third base already, and he doesn't really know what's coming his way. No observer in the enemy base, and he hasn't really scouted that all that much. TY on the other side, maybe also concerned about either drops, just getting that kind of Polt Viking out there very early on. Just grabbing one to make sure that
these two are just playing insanely safe, like even a patrolling Void Ray.
Actually getting a second Viking there as well. So here comes the observer out across the map. We'll see if TY can use the Raven to push that back and maintain his incognito status.
Yeah, he's going to have a second observer. The first one, I should say, is about to arrive. The second one's coming across, so double observer coverage here, attempt for Classic. He comes up here to the front, actually, which ends up getting a great angle. He avoids the potential Raven, which he doesn't actually know is there, but he assumes might be, which is really, really well done.
Where did that Raven go?
I don't know, but it's not where it needs to be. He gets a full scout of the third CC and the siege tanks, and TY appears to not have noticed, as he is not going to say anything back. In fact, he's going to see the double starport scout here.
Yeah, this is just like the most information you could possibly get, and especially with the Raven. Like, I thought that was really going to keep exactly this from happening, but the Raven apparently disappeared somewhere. If that died and I just didn't see it, I'm like, well, first of all, how did it die? I think we would have seen that.
Core. Well, this is either going to be a wonky battlecruiser builder. It's probably just going to be fast Liberator range.
Somewhere, Nathania senses a disturbance in the force. It's like, there's going to be battle cruisers out there. Most likely that is for maybe Liberator
But the thing is, he hasn't
range?
made a single Liberator yet. Okay, now he's making two at a time. He did add the two starports, so I was about to say, I'm like, okay, if TY maybe just forgot how to play the game. But yeah, he's going to add the Liberators now, 3 at a time with triple starports, no add-ons besides that Tech Lab.
I missed the player agreement where this was going to be like a no rush 20 kind of game, but I mean, it's always really cool to, fast micro, crazy plays, like big engagements, like those things are all great and objectively cool. But it's always just really cool to me to look at a pro player's base and just see how cool that works.
Or see a battle cruiser on the production tab.
That is indeed a battle cruiser, Wolf.
TY is, I believe, the only player. TY is, I believe, the only player to have utilized tactical jump in a professional Korean StarCraft 2 game. Just putting that out there. I think he used it in the GSL qualifiers. We're going to see a fleet being come down. Classic already knows what's up. He's already seen everything. And the response to BC is we're going to learn today how that's really going to come out here. So obviously in the past, Void Rays were used to counter battle cruisers because they would get charge on their large hit points. You see the weapon refit is being researched so they can use Yamato cannon. He's getting another armory here. I mean, this is a really unique style we're seeing here. I mean, the harass he can use with tactical jump is going to be quite nice.
Well, the other thing is, back in the day, battlecruisers are also very vulnerable to feedback, but now no longer because it's on a cooldown instead of requiring energy or mana, whatever you want to call it. So that's not going to work anymore. Now you can feedback Ravens, so that's why little Probius here is scouting out his little friendo up there, but this is just like so strange. There's 3 battle cruisers at a time being produced. Both players now have their 4th bases up, of course a little bit faster there for Classic, and this is just like the biggest non-interactive game I have ever seen. A 5th command center now being built. I mean, eventually these guys are going to have to fight each other.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's something in the rules that forces players to fight each other. Usually they just kind of figure that out on their own.
I mean, look,
these guys didn't get the memo.
Look, he has tactical jump. Okay, he can do some harass with these BCs. They've already been revealed by the Observer Scout, as far as I know, considering the Raven was on the other side of the map harassing. The Void Ray is going to be the first to know about this and will want to get out of here. He's been producing carriers for a while. Boom, there's that Yamato. He's been producing carriers for a while, but he doesn't have them yet. But the Stalker's already in position at an overcharge here. you know, he can help ward this away.
You can't blink away from Yamato. That's actually really weird because if you think of things like Stalker shots, you can blink away from them. Window Mine shots, you can blink away from that. Well, apparently Yamato is just like such a cool general and an ability. It just like follows through the blink instead of being able to be disjointed there. So really cool to see that.
So the interaction between carriers and battlecruisers is quite an interesting one because obviously carriers fire a lot of shots. The battlecruiser armor is going to stack up against that, and it's very difficult to kill carriers individually with slow battlecruisers. However, if you have enough energy to Yamato them, I mean, you can clear them up very quickly before the carriers can finish off your BCs. So it's a pretty good matchup, if you will, for the BCs, and he's already kind of won in terms of production for the time being. Graviton Caterpillar is going to make it a lot easier to fight, and that's going to finish before they have any big engage, but here comes some harass here.
Now, ideally, what you want to accomplish here with these battle cruisers, you want to run in, get 4 Yamatos off, and then tactical jump away before you leave, before you lose. So what you're going to watch here for is how good is TY's battle cruiser micro. Can he tactical jump away? Indeed, he does. He actually takes all 4 of those out. I don't think he needed to jump them all 4 at once, but I guess better safe than sorry.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely should have done it individually. Better safe than sorry in some ways. Now, notice he doesn't send them back home, but he sends them to another base location for us. Ooh, I like this. Catching some probes transferring before he even knew that base existed per se. So I like that, having some Marines pre-set up there. You're not going to use them for anything else. He is making some additional factories, so you know that he is going to transition later on, should he need be, into some other tech. But
what a game.
I mean, it's a pretty slow-paced one, right? We've got how many battlecruisers out? Probably now like 7, I believe, with 2 more on the way.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, he's just not stopping. You know, there's no knowing where we're going, except they're going to take us to, what was that shipyard map? Core Hall Shipyard. Yeah, there we go.
Antigua Shipyard?
Antigua, there we go. Our Antigua Shipyard also.
Ooh, already used his Yamato, but he gets away.
How good an ability is tactical jump, man?
This is something that I thought we'd see eventually in professional StarCraft, but not quite against such a passive play as what Classic is showing us.
Oh, and look at what's coming up next. He's getting drilling claws for mines. So I'm guessing what's going to happen is he'll just lay out these big minefields and then use the battle cruisers to get in and then tactical jump immediately back to that. And I mean, mines are actually really good at dealing with carriers because the interceptors kind of clump up and mine shots will just like blow everything out of everywhere. So
he just tactical jumps away. This time goes back to base.
Cool.
He goes back to base this time because he knows that Hazard's already seen his trick once, and he has enough flying units to chase down and kill battlecruisers. As we see an offensive jump, I'm not sure where that one went to.
So tactical jump is... Okay, so this is actually really cool. Both players are actually up to way too many workers. I say too many. That's too many by like traditional standards. We got to late game incredibly quickly. This is 12 minutes in, and we've got TY with I think 12 battle cruisers right now.
A little bit of Colossus harass over here will be dealt with swiftly. Oh, nope, doesn't get the Yamato off, actually. Now, these Stalkers can't fight these battlecruisers, as it turns out, with good repair. And he almost gets one and doesn't even get it. Loses several Stalkers.
Micro tactical jump.
So this is going to continue. Now, he does have range for his planetaries. As you can see, the Widow Mine's already working out. We were talking about them against carriers, but obviously against the Stalkers, they're quite effective as well. We have Psystorm coming up. +3 weapons on the way here for Classic, much faster than TY's +2 for ships.
Marines, they are on a major secret mission over there. They walked all the way across the map and are now going to be harassing probes near the 5th base. Eventually they're going to be taken out, but that's just to free up supply. Both players completely maxed out, building up these massive banks.
I mean, this is insanely weird, what we are seeing here.
Yeah, carriers moving out right now towards the bottom of your screen. They will start to peek into TY's base. Now, TY has a ton of anti-air there as well, in the form of a massive amount of Vikings, but Vikings do not deal well against interceptors. Especially when they're not being microed.
They need to be targeting the carriers themselves. Now, these Stalkers are going to find a window in here, and several battlecruisers actually nearly get picked off. He's adding Void Rays into the mix, so I was talking about how that's a really nice response to the BCs. The carriers are always going to need power field. He's starting to hit this production, and TY is going to have to make a decision soon. He does take out this Nexus, and I assume tactical jump those BCs back. In fact, yes, here they are. Going to start seeing the Yamatos go off here before these all can get targeted down. And we will see a recall on those carriers. So the trade here in terms of resources, I feel like, was technically better for TY, but I feel like his production was significantly damaged. And look at the bank. Classic has been mining a lot more, has been more efficient throughout the entire game, and he has a larger bank to continue making these units, and also he's using said units to control the map, and it will eventually start to deny expansion. So it's not that TY's out of this game by any means, but it feels like this is getting better and better for Classic all the time.
And look at Classic. He's making, I think, 7 Void Rays at a time. I mean, Terran production is pretty good, but 7 Void Rays is a lot to deal with, and that is just going to crush this air army. I was actually really surprised. TY does not have a lot of Vikings in his army. I mean, that's one way that you can really deal with carriers, because Vikings have such long range. Carriers try to come up, they just die to 1 volley if you have enough Vikings to hit them. Somebody out there knows exactly how many Vikings it takes to one-shot a carrier, so if you do, tweet it at us and we'll check it out later on.
Yeah, and keep in mind the upgrades have been better for Classic this entire time as well. And that gets applied to every single battlecruiser shot, which is a rapid fire shot. It does a decent amount of damage, obviously, but when you deal with this amount of units, the Viking is usually the preferred go-to. Like you said, it's a bit late for him to switch into it now, so it looks like he's just going to try to brute force his way through this with Yamato.
And he's going to have to tactical jump back, because these carriers from Classic are going to come right into his main base. That is a lot of Void Rays. They will take out these missile turrets instantaneously. How well are TY's battlecruisers going to fare in here?
I actually think he could possibly win this fight. The Void Rays just use their prismatic alignment. He could win this fight if he snipes the Mothership Core. Unfortunately, though, he doesn't get the chance to. He needed to snipe that immediately. What he could have done was try to then go for a flank, tactical jump in 3 different locations, trap that army, get 1 Yamato off on the Mothership Core. But we talked about how Classic has the better bank. He's being more efficient. As you can see, even killed a CC here. TY needs to be splitting his battlecruisers. You need to have some battlecruisers defending the top, some kind of the bottom. You need to see him tactical jumping a little bit better, trying to catch and flank. He's getting outmaneuvered now with these slow battlecruisers by this air army, and he's going to get whittled down to nothing eventually if he doesn't change something here.
Yeah, a big difference between at least both players' strategies here is that TY just went for a big air army, whereas Classic has committed to these stalkers as well, and using them to great effect. Now trying to poke through the other side of the map, up here at the top, taking out 1 command center at a time, and now going to go in, use that prismatic alignment, and just one-shot this command center before TY can even react.
Now, you know what would be really cool, though, and I feel like we are just not seeing a whole lot of, is TY could potentially tactical jump 1 BC behind, sneak it over, and hit that big Mothership Core, stop the recall, trap those units there, then have the rest of his army tactical jump once it's lost its mobility. But unfortunately, he's just getting outmaneuvered. Now look at the supplies here. He's massively up in army supply. He has 17 BCs versus just 12 Void Rays. The BCs can outgun this just simply by Yamato alone, but if he can never catch the army, it won't matter, which is why Classic, I feel, is playing the better game here in terms of this really wonky Tier 3 air battle, which we don't very often see in competitive StarCraft 2.
Yeah, speaking of Tier 3, Protoss way up to those Tier 3. Protoss actually getting all 3 of the shield upgrades as well, and then Terran almost maxed out on upgrades, just has to complete that Tier 3 hull armor for battle cruisers. Now, here's the big air fleet, the Golden Armada for Classic, poking around towards the bottom. And this time TY has chosen, okay, I thought he was actually splitting up his battle cruisers, but no, he has them all in one spot. So does he jump back home, or is this going to be an all-out base trade? Looks like TY's sticking to his guns, taking out 1 by 1 Classic's bases.
He just jumped somewhere, I think right here, yeah. Okay, he needs to get that mothership if he wants any chance to trap this army. Wait, did he lose it to a Widowmine? I think he did. I think he lost it to a Widowmine earlier. He doesn't have it here.
Oh, and look at the Yamatos going off 1 by 1. Those Void Rays are starting to drop. The numbers of battle cruisers are sticking around, and it doesn't look like there are enough interceptors to protect Classic's carriers.
Oh man, that's all it takes. You lose that mothership core 1 time, and you lose your entire army, and that is not going to be replaceable. Every single carrier down here. Zealots are still doing a number, which is going to force TY to stay here for a little bit longer. But look at this scan. He can just tactical jump over it in another moment once that's off cooldown. He actually sends just 2 up there, forcing these pros to stop mining. Yeah, that's literally all it takes.
Okay, so if you look at the army supply, that's actually a little bit deceptive, because you see players that very similar sizes, but I think TY and his massive battle cruiser army, like just the quality of TY's army supply is so superior to Classics after losing all of those carriers.
So he lost an observer to the turret Then he flew over those Widow Mines with his Void Ray army, then lost the Mothership. Losing the Mothership took away his mobility. And we even see Banshees now being added into the mix as that Fusion Core is being replaced. It's going to switch that into Raven production afterwards. But this game is all but done. I mean, it's just a formality at this point, because when you lose that big air army one time, it's just irreplaceable. And Classic doesn't have a bank anymore. He, by the way, spent a ton of bank to rebuild a ground army, so he's trying to, again, use his mobility and use the Zealots to harass. But I don't think he can ever win a head-on engagement ever again in this game. And we even see Ravens now being added. Probably just going to stick with the 3. Here comes potentially the last fight here. He's just going to tactical jump away, wastes that cooldown on the prismatic alignment. He's just going to keep building a larger force.
And TY is totally okay. He can lose 2-3 bases at this point, and he'll be fine. Just because his army is so much better. He's got such a huge bank right now. And Classic, even though he did lose that force, still good to see him out on the map, making things happen, taking down a couple of command centers.
Oh, we talked about the mobility of the Protoss army and how he was using recall to control the fight. Now, essentially with only like 2 Nexi left, a third one I think totally mined out for important bases, TY could just zip around the map. He could send 2 groups of 4 BCs to just Yamato the Nexi and kill them, and then run away later. He has supreme mobility with tactical jump. He should be able to theoretically just kill all of the bases and avoid this Void Ray army while also rebuilding his BC force. He also has 1,300, 1,200 minerals. He can spend money buying turrets to defend his production as well.
You know, where is that Mothership Core? So
I don't think he ever replaced it, to be honest.
Classic just, I mean, that's a key unit. I mean, tactical jump is super cool, and we've seen TY abuse that in many different ways this game, but I mean, Protoss has its version of tactical jump in that Mothership Core. You saw what happened to Classic's army. As soon as he didn't have that Mothership Core, he just lost. Oh no, the Promanity. Here we go, the Tunneling Claws coming out, and they will, Tunneling Claws are for roaches. These are, wait,
Burrow Claws? I don't even know. He upgraded Burrow. I don't remember what it's called.
I just said the name of the upgrade
you
earlier.
Did. Drilling Claws.
Drilling Claws, there we go. All right, got it.
We're good. We're not fired. We still cast this game. I haven't cast it since like October, but... so, look, this fight here that we're going to see, I feel like at this point Classic just has, or sorry, excuse me, TY just has a superior firepower, and I mean, he doesn't even have to take this fight, but he can, and he will just either Yamato this and go ahead and tactical jump away, or maybe even just try to take the fight tactical jumping individual units. And the biggest fear here is that the Voiders are going to get Yamato. It's a long startup, though, and actually, he will have to go away, and he wasn't decisive there. In fact, didn't kill the Nexus either. This is a bit risky. Now his Ravens get caught. This is a dirty game, Rapid.
Well, the other thing is that it feels like TY is not really respecting the Stalker ground army. Stalker, like if you have an equal supply Stalkers versus battle cruisers, and you focus fire with the Stalkers, I'm pretty sure that wins. I don't know totally my map. Or my math on that one, but we're about to find out. I mean, Stalker's getting a decent arc here against these battle cruisers. Do need to see him micro those with tactical jump, and he is doing a decent job with that. And okay, well, if you use the tactical jump micro well enough, you're starting to see exactly why. GG TY with a very unique battle cruiser style wins game 1.
Well, that was a dirty game. That was definitely not a premier game, if you will.
Look, it was a challenging game?
It was challenging. It was challenging. We had a few mistakes on both sides, I feel like, in this game, but definitely with a unit composition and a style that you don't see very often in a televised match in studio like this one. I know, actually, it looks like we're just casting the green screen behind us or something, but like actually these players are literally in the studio and anyone can come down and watch.
This airplane is about to like run into us. Like that one's taking off. Wolf's is landing.
It'll never happen. General planes have no accidents. Nothing bad has ever happened. And they'll probably just immediately like go upwards in thrust. And it's actually a show plane, and it's more fuel efficient that way. I don't know what you're suggesting.
Well, I'm just saying, like...
Read Rapid Casting Melton.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, the great thing about Jin airplanes is that they're actually totally silent. These things are flying right overhead, and you can't even hear them.
Couldn't hear it at all, man. It's super quiet. But, like, look, I mean, we saw in that last game... a lot of different mechanics that we haven't really seen utilized too much in StarCraft 2, utilized at mid-efficiency, and it's easy for us to just watch and say, like, oh, I think you should have microed better there. BCs will beat Stalkers straight up under PDD, first of all.
Okay, so, well, also that was there.
And Classic, like, just knew he had to try to take a fight desperately because he was so behind. There were Widow Mines coming in. He was trapped with his Stalkers there. The game ends. The game really ended, I feel, though, when the Mothership Core was killed by the Widow Mine. He lost his Observer. He flew into a turret. The Mothership Core dies, I believe, off screen. We didn't see a shot of that. And then suddenly he can't recall anymore. And the mobility he was abusing all game long is gone. And we saw TY eventually start to get a big grasp on like just sending multiple BC harasses with tactical jump 2 at a time. Always escape with them. When there was no mothership anymore, they usually just kind of sat back there in dead airspace and didn't die. And yeah, I mean that's
what happened.
That's what happened. We commentated, we saw it.
You guys saw it too. All right, well, we're coming into game number 2 here, guys. If you are TY fans and you're probably feeling pretty good, Classic, on the other hand, has got to win this one to keep his hopes of winning that extra $100 alive. Looks like we are going to get into this game number 2. Once again, if you have comments, concerns, like suggestions, you just want to let us know your favorite dank memes, tweet at us on Twitter. It's at RapidCasting, at Proxy. Well, if you use the hashtag SSL, we'll be checking out your tweets a little bit later on during the broadcast. So let's go ahead and get into game number 2, TY versus Classic.
All right, here we go. Going into game number 2 in blue, it is TY, back-to-back world champion of WESG, the largest prize pool tournaments you've had outside of the BlizzCon for StarCraft 2, and of course IEM Katowice World Championship. His opponent in yellow, of course, is Classic, the GSL Star League champion, one of, actually thinking about it, I believe the only player to have ever won both tournaments. So,
well, I mean, it's not a very long list of tournaments.
Well, I mean, sure, Star League,
or it's not a very long list of players who have like won those like either
I'm
tournament.
pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure it's Classic has only won both.
Mm-hmm.
As Morrow has still yet to clinch a GSL title. He's probably the closest candidate in terms of Star League champions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Solar was our defending Star League champion. He's never really taken any other domestic titles. So, as it turns out, even when you look at the history of Brood War and you look at the OSL and the MSL, until we had top dominating players like Flash and Jadong, for example, Stork, it was rare for a player to perform very well in both. And there's no logical reason why you would say that that was the case. But as it turns out, preparing for 2 different tournaments and having 2 different types of opponents all at the same time becomes difficult.
Yeah, and especially when you... Okay, I was like, yeah, see, that's why I'm like, okay, well, you can't actually block Terran buildings. I've never seen a pylon block for a command center because you just build it next to the pylon.
It's kind of awkward because the lift and land animation for the orbital actually takes quite some time, so it is significant, but I mean, we're getting like really technical here, right?
What are you gonna like wait until you can build Marines and then kill the pylon
you definitely,
and then build it? It's like,
you definitely want to build it for sure, but it is significant, even though it feels silly. And I feel like if someone's watching StarCraft for the first time right now, watching this, probably like, well, that's really weird. You just made a thing and then made the guy make it 1 hex to the left and he canceled it. Like, is that how technical this game is? Yes, it is, actually.
If you're going to get really technical, I remember, man, when was it? Maybe like a year and a half ago, I used to see so many players doing, like if they knew that like a Zerg or a Protoss was like going to be mining from a base imminently, they would do engineering bay blocks on the mineral patches, and I'm just like, well, that is actually doing the utmost. So thankfully we don't have that anymore this time around.
Yeah, I mean, TY actually was, TY and Maru, the 2 players that really popularized that in like recent StarCraft 2, the eBay block, which happened a lot on maps with like Backdoor Nexi, so you would see it a lot on maps like that. But here we go, another Stargate opening.
Oh man, well, if we see another one of these just like split map, no rush 20 kind of games, I mean, battlecruisers, it turns out, guys, are pretty good, and we actually do have a couple of updates from our fabulous audience. Zizla letting me know that Yamato Cannon can be dodged by Stalkers. It's just a very, very difficult timing.
Yeah, it is.
So that is something we'll have to see if maybe Classic gets a chance to do if this game goes in the same direction. I mean, this is the game where Classic actually just one base all ins TY, and he's like, what? No, I have to build battle cruisers.
Well,
why would you do that?
First of all, Rapid, this is Daybreak, where nothing bad has ever happened. And as you can see, the third base for Classic is already underway. So
yeah.
it's definitely going to be more like the first game than anything else based on what we've seen here so far. Phoenix, though.
Yeah, Phoenix, and there's a drop on the way. So already TY looks like will be the first person to break this ceasefire. Drop just now going to land at that third base. We'll see if he can force a cancel.
All right, well, the Phoenix here not out in time, unfortunately. The Oracle's just going to stare this medevac down as 3 Adepts come over. Widowmine shot here is going to be of the utmost importance. Unfortunately, he put it out last, did not manually target that, and that's a mistake.
Yeah, he's going to drop it down here now, but it's going to die before it... Oh, no, actually does get the burrow off, and not a shot.
Good micro there by Classic. In order to put the Widowmine out first, it would have to have been loaded into the medevac that way, as when you press unload all, it has a preset load. Or you can manually click on it to solo unload it, which is what normally players do, but I guess he was looking elsewhere when this happened, or he panicked. But had he put it out first, that could have done a lot of damage. It would have been out before the Phoenix was ready.
Well, also just like a no-fly zone, right? I mean, having that the Phoenix out to usher the drop away, well, you can't actually do that if there's a Widowmine burrowed there, so... I mean, we're probably going to go the same direction as we did in the last game, although 2 barracks now added on for TY. Looks like this will be a different style or a different build order, but we're not really going to see all that much action early on. Widowmines more than likely will be able to stop these Phoenix. It does get a nice pick off there at the watchtower, just getting map control, I guess.
Absolutely. At least vision control, but with how TY is hunkered down, killing that alone essentially will give control to Classic, as TY is still, as far as I know, unaware of the third base that Classic has. So this looks to be a great opening so far for Classic. TY does have a third CC, which just finished right here, but obviously we're a ways away from that actually coming up. Nicely done. You could actually target that down with Revelation to reveal it. Despite not having detection anymore, the Oracle can still be used in super technical situations like this to remove the Widowmine, so I like that.
I always hate players who are just like, no, I just need to like save up my Oracles because then I can get harassed later on. It's like, well, you're just not really going to get in there right now, so just use the energy. He's going to be getting a lot of value off of that, just keeping track of TY's army, which he probably could have guessed is actually just not going anywhere, so... both players really kind of, you know, snuggling in for that long winter's nap on opposite sides of Daybreak, a map that in one form or another will just always be with us.
Daybreak is the type of map that you watch players play out and you go, well, I guess we're just gonna watch this mid game where the casters talk about the upgrades and like Wolf makes a joke about hair and like eventually we'll get there. Daybreak was a map that was popular years and years ago, and for some reason I think the StarCraft community gets really upset when a map gets recycled. But if you look at the Brood War, ooh, bit of a late cancel there. Get out of there, Phoenix. When you look at the Brood War maps that we even see today, they get recycled. They have been recycled for like decades, basically. Some of them, I mean, they were old maps, and it's cool that we have standard maps, almost like legacy maps, that can come back. And yes, it would be terrible if we saw Daybreak every tournament, every best of 3 for all time. But to see it reused in a map pool like this one in 2017 feels cool, because it's like basically 3 years after this map was popular.
Yeah, I think it's a difference of, you know, is every single one of the maps a recycled map, or do we still get new maps? And you know, it says something like you mentioned the Brood War maps. Like if you just get a great map, it's like, okay, well, I don't mind seeing a bunch of games here because it's actually just so good. But you know, we've brought a little bit of new maps, a little bit of old maps, and all of these maps were chosen by the players, so you know that it's what they want to play on. Now, Shade does complete here. That is a lot of adepts here. We'll see if TY has enough to hold.
He has a lot of bio here, and he's actually got a nice setup where he can flank, but unfortunately that wall is not tight enough. The adept shades come through. Even still, though, TY still has a lot of bio. He's got only a few medevacs here, unfortunately. That one Liberator actually doing tons of work. The second one here joining it as well, but it still just isn't enough.
Oh my god,
GG.
Classic. GG. Wow, yeah, neither player, you know, really playing the same playstyle as last game. And Classic does not want to let it go late. It's like adepts are pretty good.
I mean, we talked a lot about maps and stuff like that. The game is going to be like going on Challenger because we're just kind of chilling out here. But when you have a map like this one, and you don't scout that your opponent has a fast third base or what he's really up to in terms of adepts. You spread yourself too thin onto 3 bases when your entire build was going into a drop ship that got totally shut down. I mean,
yeah,
he lost the drop. When you do a build like that, you get behind. Your opponent's got 3 bases. His line of thinking is, he's like, doing the can't lose the game if I got, if I don't just make mass adepts,
yeah.
Or wait, can't. Yeah, I don't know.
There was a version of that worked.
Yeah.
Wolf's got to step up his
I'm
meme
outta
game.
here.
Yeah, no. Just leave. Thankfully, these are not wireless mics, or else Wolf could actually just walk away.
Sure.
It's like we're chained to the caster desk by our headsets.
Absolutely.
Little do you guys know that we have like RFIDs implanted in our skin. If we go too far away from the caster desk, our heads explode. It's like Battle Royale. We can't leave the caster desk until the broadcast is over.
It's intense like that.
That actually makes us get to the studio on time as well, because if we're not in a certain range of the caster desk by broadcast time, then our heads pop off like Mr. Potato Head's. So
yeah.
Actually, Mr. Potato Head's head was actually just attached. It was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Parts, his body parts popped off.
I could just like picture that happening to me. That would not be a fun time.
Can you just imagine like putting a little bomb inside of his potato head and suddenly it's like a small bomb, right?
You're a sadistic kid, Wolf.
And all the body parts fly away.
That was like the deleted scenes from Toy Story.
Yeah. It was the pig Porky or whatever, man. He did it. Pork Chop.
Who's the bad kid in Toy Story? Sid, yeah. Sounds like a Sid thing to do. Wolf was Sid growing up. All right, game number 3 coming up. TOI versus Classic. A battle for who's going to take home $100 extra tonight. Of course, 200 first place, 100 to second place. Which player is going to take home the extra money? Let's go ahead and get into game number 3. Coming out in the upper left-hand corner, the Jin Airplane, the Jin Air Butterfly. This is the Blue Terran player, TY. And there he is.
Not Ty. If you ever hear
oh my God!
If you hear any commentators say that, they're not hardcore. All right, down to the bottom right in blue, of course, his opponent, Classic.
No. I actually really want to talk about that. So back when you could pick up siege tanks in dropships, that's really when I first started recognizing TY as like, oh my God, this guy's actually so good. Because he would just get 2 dropships, 2 siege tanks, and go kill everything. I'm like, well, this is actually just so insane, but no other players could really have the multitasking, the control that he did. And when he starts like popping up on people's radar, that's when you figure out, you're like, who calls him TY or Ty? And man, I would listen to people call him Ty, and I'm just like, he's not the this guy does not make Beanie Babies, guys. Yeah. Like, he is, it's actually his initials, Taeyeon, who's also
Taeyoung. Yeah.
Taeyoung. I always messed it up when I pronounce Hangul, but yeah. If we just said his actual name, you might think he was a K-pop idol. No, he's a StarCraft idol instead. If you ask me, that's infinitely better.
Sure. No, I mean, definitely.
Obviously. Although he probably can't sing as well. If he could, then imagine just being like that guy. You're like a K-pop idol who, by night is a StarCraft player. It's probably a drama.
It's like one of these. It's like one of these animes, like
he's like the Hannah Montana of StarCraft.
It's like
does it all.
It's like Kira is like the best student. He's like the police chief's son, and like also really good at tennis, and like has like a bunch of girls he's dating at the same time, and also the mastermind that's killing everybody. And also he has like 6 toes on both of his feet.
Well, also he's an anime character, so that also just makes you infinitely better. But did you see that Netflix is making like a westernized version of Netflix? I mean,
wait, what?
Yeah, it's
Netflix is making a westernized version of Netflix?
Westernized version of Death Note. Okay, I misspoke.
I was gonna say, look, Netflix is where like
it's coming to the U.S. for the first time ever.
Netflix is the place where people have come to chill. And I
myself have chilled many times with Netflix.
It's how new generation teens and people in their young 20s have offered to have awkward dates at their house for a long time. I don't know how much more Western you could get. I mean, than watching Breaking Bad the 3rd time in a row with a bag of potato chips. But yeah, anyways, what are they doing on Netflix?
They're westernizing Death Note. I'm just like, well, this is like the most like anime of animes.
Zac Efron's gonna play Light Yagami, right?
I hope so, man. They've already like announced, I think, the actors and stuff. Willem Dafoe is playing Ryuk, so that's like the big highlight for me. I think it's actually going to be okay, but I think a lot of people are like a little bit upset. I'm actually just excited, and that's my spiel. So,
Well, getting into this game on Bel'Shir Vestige, or Vestige, as some people who would like to be more vestigious than us would say. Oh, that Reaper is like...
oh my God, that is Daredevil Reaper right
He's
there.
like, I know they're up there, but I'm just going to go anyways. Still gets out. Classic
What?
felt bad for him.
What a god.
Oh, man, those probes were lining up. I was getting stressed out. But going into this game, we have a Hellion opening into... Classic is just doing another Oracle build. Looks like it's a safety Oracle, at least it was initially. Now he's going to send it out to do some harass. There are several Widow Mines here, as this is a tech build once more from TY. And I believe he actually had a third Hellion in production and canceled it, so he's got just the 2 Hellions on the map for now. And his drop gets spotted. Widow Mines now on the defensive. Ooh, not on the right spot though. TY, the Oracle's on the natural base.
Wow, he can actually like kill so many SCVs, but he's not going to go. I think he thinks that there's a Widow Mine over there, so instead, not really committing to it.
Yeah, I have a mind game by TY too.
A mind game, if you will.
Yahoo! That's a knee slapper if I've ever heard
That's
one.
the sound Mario makes when he jumps, man.
Well, not going to be the double starport into 3 starport BCs opening this time either, sadly. I guess maybe that was just a one-time thing on Newkirk Precinct. Too bad Nathanius wasn't watching. Went to bed too early.
Man, with that build, TY could have lost a Nation Wars game.
Definitely.
All right, well, Nine's burrowing out there across the map, and at least for the time being, we're going to see another one of these, you know, like, hey, we can be best friends for a little bit longer. This is like Fox and the Hound when they're friends and then they become enemies eventually. That'll happen
Sad movie.
later on. I've actually never watched the movie. I think I've watched one Disney movie.
What?
Over the course of my life. Yeah, I was not allowed to watch those when I was a kid because apparently they would, you know, corrupt my young, supple mind. So
Yeah, I mean...
I only know basically the premise of the Fox and the Hound, that there is, you know, a fox and a hound, and that sad things happen, so... oh, okay, that was a nice Widow Mine hit. Unfortunately...
Didn't save the Hellion, not in
No.
time. It wouldn't have saved him anyways, but...
Also the mine, yes, would have also killed the Hellion, so I'm like, okay, that was just not a mission destined for success.
Well, I'm sad you haven't seen a lot of Disney movies. I mean, you're past the age now, but...
Well,
man.
they just came out with a new live-action Beauty and the Beast movie. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I was pretty disappointed that even existed, as I really enjoyed the Beauty and the Beast original. But the songs, apparently, from what I've seen on the internet, are
like a
mostly
musical?
the same. Yeah, apparently they're mostly the same songs, which I always liked. So, as we see these Marines come across the map here, and remember that we are in fact commentating a professional StarCraft tournament in the
It's
wee hours
not
of the
allowed
evening.
at any time.
Let's look at this pressure. Classic has a third base up he has for a while, and this has kind of been the trend in this series, is Classic abusing the fact that TY has and always has had a very passive style where he takes a very slow, safe third base. Classic has been aggressively expanding to a third, and it's been working out for him. We'll avoid this Widow Mine, just going to pull the 1 probe away. Dodges this Widow Mine unintentionally with the Phoenixes, but 2 more coming to the main, so TY is hitting from 3 sides.
Oh, Classic. He's not reacting to it, Wolf. No, the probe manatee. It's all going down. 9 probes for just 2 Widow Mines.
TY walks away with the rest of his army. Pretty efficient harassment there. Remember, though, he still doesn't have combat shields. He still doesn't have a third base. So in terms of pressure, this is about as good as it gets. And Classic is gearing up, I would imagine, to attack fairly soon with his +1 and his resonating glaives.
Yeah, glaives just completing right there. TY down a base. He does have a lot of armies. So pushing out across the map, he'll have an aggressive advantage here. And he has gotten some decent harassment. But really, those Widow Mines just evened up the worker count. They didn't actually put TY ahead. So... coming across the map here, trying to hit this third. And that's a lot of glaive adepts.
Shades actually used right now. They're not shading in the correct direction. He's going to use this pylon to ward this attack off. Instead of actually going home, he's going to commit to the attack with his adepts. You can see on the minimap, he's heading them up to the top right. This drop will get shut down, but the adept attack is still ongoing. No combat shields yet, and this is unknown to TY. He has no idea it's coming. He just now saw it with his rallied units, and he's going to, you know, be hard-pressed to defend this attack. Now, Classic looks like he was assuming that TY would have a normal third base, so doesn't actually find anything here, but had that been the normal third base, he would have had a difficult time with all of his army out on the map. As it turns out, his third base is landed to the left side, very late, by the way, and still not mining, but could have been disastrous had he taken a more normal third base location.
God, man, the ability to make adepts is like probably the most useful things. Like, you know, talking.
Good skill too, I have.
Yeah. I mean, you guys might think, you know, like talking to girls, dope dance moves. Like, I mean, those are great skills. Nunchuck skills also way up
Being
there.
able to do the Harlem Shake, you know, that thing that kids do where they flip the ball over the back and it lands and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
These are all good skills, but as you're saying, yeah, making adepts seems to be the way.
I mean, yeah, making adepts like that is the way that you win yourself some StarCraft games. Classic figured it out, man. Unfortunately, adepts cannot shoot up, and so it's going to be up to those Phoenixes to push this command center ever so slowly away. However, Stim, Drugs, going to pump up these Marines moving forward, but it's going to be Stim Marines and Liberators versus adepts. Who wins?
He's going to complete the Shade, of course, and that's only 2 Liberators. So, yes, there's a lot of bio here, and actually a lot of missing shields on this Adept army. He might have actually gone into Widowmine there. He didn't fight with his Phoenixes, and even still, without fighting with his Phoenixes, he almost won the fight. But that probably couldn't have gone any worse for Classic. It's a fight he absolutely could have won had his Phoenixes been fighting together, had he not eaten that big Widowmine shot. But those things didn't happen, and as it turns out, TY just kind of sits there and wins a fight that Classic very confidently engaged into. And as it turns out now, I mean, he feebly tries to find harass value here. Though this isn't all bad, because TY still doesn't have a mining third base. In fact, is still trying to land this right now and rallies his medevacs correctly over here. But this base lands, and the game goes on. That was an incredibly efficient trade for TY, and now he can actually be on the offensive with his larger army. Needs to do something here. Look at the bank for Classic. He already has quite a lot of it. He's missing some tech, and he's going to use this harass to try to keep TY at bay at his home base.
Yeah, this is the annoying thing about Depths. Like, you can kill a huge giant army of them, but if just a few survive, they can still get out there and pull your army all the way back to home. Get a few worker kills, really, really valuable. And like you said, in the meantime, Classic has been mining off of just an extra base. And now with a huge warp in there in the main, this is going to really tear TY apart.
All that bank I was talking about, he just rips him into multiple locations.
Oh no, SCVs, you don't want to rally to the third base. 16, 17, oh my god, this is terrible. Ah, look at how good Adepts are, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's pretty good skill to do this. And it's pretty helpful right now.
To warp him in over here,
he lost
him in over there.
He lost a massive fight, but he had powered up enough gateways, and he had enough money to keep making them. And so, as it is, he wins this game. Like,
he has 24 workers, literally half of Classic's. Okay, that's not literally half of his workers, but you get the idea.
I mean, it's almost.
Almost, yeah. But I mean,
it's less than half.
I feel like almost
like,
and literally are opposite words. So
it's less than half. To put this in real terms, and yes, TY has a similar sized army, but not for very long because Classic has more mining and even has a fourth base coming up. He has more Adepts warping in at all times. And even Mules can't save TY here. He's going to need to try to outmaneuver this army, which is very difficult to do considering that it's already halfway across the map. And if he tries to do a drop, for example, it's just not reasonable with this set of Phoenixes. You and I are making jokes. This is a super casual cast, but what I may have called a Widowmine hit earlier could have been EMPs, by the way, because we have super early ghosts out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did see an EMP there, but I couldn't see the ghost, so I was like, well, was that really an EMP?
I thought something like weird happened. I was like, why are they only missing shields?
I thought it was maybe like a Phoenix death animation or something. I was like, well, that doesn't look that way. So
anyway, to clarify that earlier fight, it was EMPs that actually won that fight for TY, not a Widowmine shot.
So EMP is really, really effective against Adepts. It feels like Adepts have twice as many hit points as they do. They just take forever to kill. EMP cuts that time in half, so really, really clutch to see that mixed in. This is a really interesting composition. I don't think we've really seen this quite as much.
Yeah, it definitely feels like some experimentation coming out of TY here. Look, back-to-back world champion. He's about to lose his first best of 3 to Classic here in Challenge. Pretty rough. We saw a missed EMP in that last engage. It looks like he just EMP'd the Shades. So that's unfortunate. I think he has 2 ghosts. Yeah, he has 2 ghosts here.
I would think EMPs would like cancel shades or like deplete them or something like that. I mean, TY is trying to go across the map and make it happen. There are a lot of adepts, and Phoenix is here. Gonna go in. Shades coming in from behind as well. TY bio thinning out, and there's a lot of adepts up on the high ground.
Yeah, not even all of them were fighting, and even with only half his army, he fended it off pretty well. He has better upgrades here, and now he just has the better numbers. And this is a better angle for TY. Half the adepts are not even firing. In fact, most of them are not firing. Does finally shade through. This is the best fight TY could have hoped for, and it's still not enough. GG, Classic will take the first series of SSL Challenge here, 2-1 against the back-to-back world champion, TY.
All right, so Classic coming out, and really, I wanted to stress, like, for SSL coming back with a new series, both Premier, Classic, and Challenge, all three at the same time. I mean, this is really a revival in a lot of different ways. For guys like Classic, this is a brand new Star League for him to prove himself in. We've got things like the fast track to, what is it called?
Fast lane.
Fast lane.
HOV lane.
All right. Well, Classic's well on his way to putting himself in that lane to make it up to Premier. And that, of course, is where the big money is. All the prestige is up there in the Premier League, which will be coming back, I believe, on Monday. So if you guys want to catch day 2, that's when you can do it.
I have to say, I feel like this series overall was Classic playing against TY's style. Really, especially in game 1 and 3. He didn't end up winning the first game because he ended up losing that fight, lost his mothership core to the Widowmine. But he played super aggressive in terms of expanding, playing a passive game, going to the late game, which TY normally plays almost too defensively in the early game. That's why you very rarely find someone cheesing TY because it's just so good at defending. Played against his style in game 3, got massively ahead. Did a decent amount of damage to his adepts, lost a fight because of EMP, straight up lost it, and then still just had a better economy and continued to harass. He forced that base to lift, and
sometimes it's not even about winning fights, it's about knowing what to do at every stage in the game. And so Classic was like, oh, I lost a fight, but I know what to do. And he already had his third base up. He took the pressure off of that third base by just shading everywhere across the map. We're going to head out to a quick commercial, so we're going to shade out, but make sure to shade back in just a minute. We'll have our second best of 3 coming up next.